Okay, Shalom Alochen. We'll be starting our next session. It's the Makaro Project and Modern Assyrian, Preserving Modern Assyrian Language, and the Nineveh Academic Chair, Advancing Assyrian Language History and Culture through Scholarly Initiatives. We are fortunate in Itaniqara, we have Dr. Sargon Hasso and Dr. Efrim Yildiz presenting today. Thank you.
قدمتكم برخطة بشوية تنصباي. Thank you. هاتون بسيمة راود هنتي الأخ شميتون المملة دي ومملة دكتور أفرم يلدز. بهمزمن أنا بتخا project ينترميتا شمو إلى ريخة هيون إلى لشان الدين إلى مرقمانوتها ونطارد لشان أطوراي دارايا شريتت قطرة يعني كترت لشان تخسر مبوعة بيطلخنت خاشوة متقدمانة وباروشة أمنايا. In a nutshell, digitization and preservation of modern Assyrian language, addressing the challenges of low resolution, low resource languages through advanced technological solutions and AI. My name is Sargon Hasso and I am an IT person. I love my language, and I always worked with making it always apply basically computer technology in advancing the language. The fonts that you see here is new and has never been, this first time everyone has seen it, and it's we're working toward making it standard fonts. And also the code behind it, as we say, it was standard through some efforts that I worked with some other people 30 years ago, making Syriac characters or Syriac language part of the world standard. So I'll be talking about different topics. One is what Makaro Project is and the significance of this project. I'll talk about three components of this project or projects. One is I'll be talking about Duprano Dictionary. I'll give you the names and rationale why I'm using these names, and when we get to them. And I'll be talking about some technologies that we have developed that will assist and help us with utilizing technology in serving our language and advancing our language. I'll talk about another project called Ashur Text. I call it Modern Assyrian Language Corpus Project. We'll talk about some future projects, and then I'll be asking you what to expect. So what's Makaro Project? Makaro, by the way, is an Akkadian word, means to irrigate or water. إن خشت ليلة بيمشتو يمية إجا أنا مدميا أو شت لا إلى مخليشانة لا مشتيت لمية ما سمت بالا اللي مايت That's really the genesis of why I call it Makaru. And most, at least in my IT industry or domain, we always, when we work on projects, we always give them code names. So I tend to take these code names from Akkadian language. Akkadian language, as everyone may know, is really is the Assyrian and Babylonian languages, two dialects that they together that are called Akkadian. So, and the goal is of these projects really is preserve and enhance the modern Assyrian language. So كل من يتعلم خامته ومروحته لشان عاشورايا ضارايا. So I am not interested in لشان تيقة that already exists, like scholars, universities that's already established. So I'm only concerned about بيخ مسمغ بالا لشان ديان within the last 500 years. من خمس شماشنا خراي سبقت لن مبوعة بيشنا إيتن إن جاك ما تخلو بهمزون باس دو من دي. So basically, I build a platform, software development platform, to make this possible. So we're building, just like I build a foundation to build on top of it applications, projects, language tools like dictionary, spell checkers, and so on. That's really, in a nutshell, what it means. So let me give you some rationale behind some of the things why we need to take care of our language. I'll give you some examples. The one on the left is a dictionary that it's handwritten, and this was from around 1900. It was discovered somewhere in New York library, and they don't even know who wrote it. But I came across it by accident. It's beautiful handwritten. The English is not very clear, but it's also beautiful script in English. You have to kind of look at it carefully. So someone attempted to write a dictionary more than 100 years ago. And this is a manuscript, that's handwritten manuscript. It's about 450 pages long. And I think it was discovered it was some in the basement of some house, and it was donated to a library in New York somewhere. And luckily, they digitized it and they made it available online. The one image on the right is a manuscript that Nicholas Algilu discovered when he was in Iran. And I think someone passed away, and he calls it like Khawran collection. And or Azizi this is one of he calls it Azizi manuscript, and he discovered actually a treasure trove. One of them, I think he wrote, this person who wrote, it's handwritten. He wrote about 7 volumes about I think history of Urmi, and the other one he also wrote day-to-day life of what's going on in a daily life during the when Khomeini, took over. So I think it's a great chronicle of what happened during that time. So what happened, and unfortunately, these manuscripts, the person died, and it's put in a box. And luckily for us, Nicholas Algilu discovered them, and he was able to basically acquire them. That's the good news. The bad news is this manuscript still lives in a box somewhere in Nicholas Algilu's house. So we don't want it to be there. Actually, we want to take it and make it available. And we are working with him to take this content and basically transcribe it, and we'll talk about it later. Here's another example. Again, a rationale just to kind of take you with me to where what we want to do with these manuscripts. These are lost, I call it lost or forgotten manuscripts that we need to revive. By the way, all these are Lishana Khata, Lishana Tamzamta, Lishan Swadaya. So this on the left is a manuscript. It's a copy, actually. We don't have the original, unfortunately, the actual manuscript that was handwritten by maybe some of you may know Yosef Bitkulya from 1925. This is a translation of fables, حكايات مثليات, from Russian by Krylov, who was actually, I mean, he was like 18th century through 19th century novelist. He was famous, and the beautiful thing about this Yosef Bitkulya, he wrote it, he took these are, by the way, children's tales. So, and it's from Krylov, and in Assyrian, actually, on the left, it says, Masale Pushke, Mbrusna'it, Muriz el-Shere, Bshmul, Yosef Bitkulya, Gyuktapa, he was from Gyuktapa, village, Marab Kiwi, and Kiev in 1925. So again, this is a beautiful literature that is, in a sense, it's lost because no one has access to it, and they really have. And if you look at these, he even had pictures, actually, pictures from this book about children's tales. So that's work that needs to be also revived and resurrected. The one on the right is an English Assyrian dictionary by Louis Code. I think he was from California somewhere. Somehow he took Odu dictionary, if you're familiar with Simtat Lishana, Lishan Suryaya, at Lishana Suryaya, Tuma Odu. So he basically took it and reversed it. He made it, the Tuma Odu's dictionary, if you're not familiar with it, is like Syriac, classical Syriac. Louis Koda took it and reversed it and created basically English Assyrian, and or Assyrian English. And he wrote this manuscript, he worked on it, and it's about, I don't know, more than 1,000 pages long. And luckily, this manuscript, a good friend of mine, met with him. I think it was somewhere in LA, I believe, maybe in the 80s, and he agreed to make a copy of it, because what happened, unfortunately, we heard that Louis Koda collections burned. His house caught fire and a lot of his writings lost. Luckily, this was there. So, and the good news is I have a full copy of this manuscript. George Kiraz, actually, my friend, who he was kind enough to scan it and give me a copy of it. And these other also examples where I show, this is on the left. You don't see it very well, but Himmel, it's a Hill Museum and Manuscript Library. It's a nonprofit organization. It's based in Minnesota. They house a really good collection of manuscripts, more than 8,000 of them. Not all, and they're actually in different dialects too. So there's like a lot of Syriac literature, Lishana Tiqa, and there's quite few in Lishana Swadaya, Lishana Khata, Tamzamta, and Bla'za Khine, Bla'zat al-Qushnaya, Zaitan. And so this is actually one of the books, Lishana Swadaya. Some book is Kitawat Martianuta al Lagumiruta Yatar Khasr Mabyanana Bkhayab Uphamzamta Nashat Qashisha Ruwal Yosef Arsanis. It was written in 1939. Again, the reason why I'm showing you these are manuscripts that no one knows about them unless you're like me, who goes and looks for them. And the point is, we want to bring them to life. The one on the right, it's not very clear, but it's a 600-page manuscript by Isaac Murhach, and he wrote it around 1938, and it's a church history. And I estimated it's a long, the page size is, it's long. So I estimated it has 276,000 words in it. So this is, again, I'll tell you why I counted these words. I estimated, not counted, Ken. Anyway, so the whole idea is, we have all these treasure that is hidden. Maybe some of you know some people, they have things in a box. maybe they are no longer with us, but they're neglected, or maybe they're in libraries, no one can have access to them. And the whole idea is, how do we make it such that anyone, anywhere can access them, not necessarily in their original digitized format, but also in a transcribed format, meaning you convert and read them and put them in a platform, in a repository, and you can search for it just like Google. So you can actually search for it, and I'll show examples how that's done shortly. And so these are some of the things that I go through and I use to build these software platforms. So we created what we call an OCR and HTR. Basically, we train the computer how to read Assyrian, whether in the printed form or written form. So you can show them a page, and it will read it, transcribe it, and be it in handwritten or it's printed. And then what we do, we take this content, we store it in a repo or repository, and then we build application that you can search for it, and you can do all kind of things like analyze text and so on. And you can like extract insight, which I will show you shortly. So the first project I want to jump into is the Duprano Dictionary. It's an online dictionary, and it is Assyrian English or English Assyrian or any other language, because there's really no limit how you search for it. And it is a multilingual, and it has Duprano, by the way, is also a code name. Right here I say Duprano, which is an Akkadian word. It's a juniper tree. Well, this picture, it says California juniper, because I knew I was coming to California. They have different kind of juniper trees. But anyway, juniper is Duprano in Akkadian. Akkadian actually gave it to Syriac language, which Aramaic. That means Aramaic language borrowed from Akkadian. In Syriac is called Daprana. Anyway, so that's the name of the project. And it has many, many features. It's unlike anything probably you've seen, but the best way of describing this is, let's go and show you some examples of what it does. So this is online. It is available, and you'll have the link to it. And you can search. You can search by any word. For example, if you type Amruch Orcha, and it will, let's see, let me just type it so you can see it. And this is live actually. And so you can type any word in Assyrian or in English. I'll show you also in English. And it will actually not only show you that entry, but also show you all the places that Orcha occurs in. And well, let's focus on Orcha. And one of the things that you can see here, it does have, for example, part of speech. This is noun, and this is feminine, like gender, and plural. It also has, it has a definition. So definition is, let's see. And I'll show you some definition. Here, this word has what we call three senses. Orcha itlaq lamanai, right? So all the senses are, as much as we can discover, they're here. For example, in this case, we have four meanings of Orcha. And not only will give you the meaning of it, we also, a sense, like sukala, we also show you examples how it's used. So these are, for example, خاب منايو إلى أرخا يعني way path على الأرخة من مرجع على الرومة طيبها وخلابه إخيتا journey بلطلة من مديتا أرخة خايوما. So this meaning is different than a أرخة path, right? This is like duration. إخيتا لكريد, meaning belief. كريستياني حاضري وليزال لقام بأي أرخة it أو مخضر لقادية. The last one is means, how to do something by something. So, and I give you example of it. Ki مخرملون ومن بلوالون وما أجزوالون بكل أرخة هوية. So we are not only getting the word, you're also getting examples of how this word is used. These are what we call them citation examples. Any good dictionary really, and this is good for learners if they don't know how to use the word. Many dictionaries you find online, they're like just really a glossary, like, you know, English, like beta, house, you know, man, orza, you know, and life, khayye. But we're going beyond that. Here's an example of a word with a definition, akhuna. Akhuna ila urzat itle awahim akhdiyukh. This is the definition, actually. So even maybe for you, you know what it means, but if someone doesn't understand it, let's say someone studying Assyrian, they'll understand that they can read it. And for learners also, they'll be able to see these words and understand it and basically learn the language through definition as well. And here's also another example. And the other feature that I also show in this example, different villages, and it's pronounced differently. For example, we say and here we show you in which village these different pronunciations are pronounced, or laza, each laza, it's different. So we will try to capture that as much as we can. Another example is, again, I'm giving you a definition and all the related words to kipa. Kipa ila gushma qashya, like solid. Demrakyo min usiya khipreta, lamid gershanta, lamid yaqdanta bnura. Something beautiful, right? Definition. You will never see this one in any other dictionary, but you'll find it here. By the way, this dictionary is from Toma Odu, Plishana Supraya. So when you read the word, you'll understand how it's used. By the same token, you're also learning how to use the language. Again, we give you examples here and the meaning in English. And the other thing you also see, all the related words that this kipa it occurs in. For example, sabtat kipe, you know, like the sidewalk. And for example, kipa timana, kipa yaqura, like precious stones. Other features of the dictionary will show you, for example, if the word is derived from other languages, like Antichristos, it's from Greek. We'll show you that it's from Greek, and you'll see the pronunciation in Greek as well. The other thing that you'll also see in this dictionary is that you'll not only see the word, we also tie them together, meaning we create relationships between words. For example, Ida itla asura bit paghra, itla asura bit sipate. So we say that Ida is part of paghra, and sab'a, sippa, is part of Ida. So these relationships are there. So, and I'll show you a little later, you can actually search not only by keyword, you can also search by concepts. Like you would say, give me all the words that are related to Risha. Give me all the words that are related to Paghara. For example, so you will do discovery by concepts rather than individual words. And I'll show you more examples like that. Here's another example where I show not only definition, but I also show you the relationship to other things that are related to sitwa. Sitwa is, it's a winter. So إلى شخلاب قماية شيتا مشارب إسرين خاو كانوا قماية وبارق إسرين خاد آدر وليلة يطر ريخلة ريخة من كل يومانة شيتا بأها شخلاب قرطة كي تقبى means it gets really cold. So again, the definition helps you understand the word, especially if you don't know what this word means. By the same token, you're also learning, especially for a young generation. You read it, you learn Assyrian indirectly. And I also show here what we call a relationship, because this has to do with calendar. Sitwa it's a season, right? And I also show you all the related words related to sitwa, be nisane, sitwa qeta. And by the way, all these are clickable entries. So if you click on it, let me see, here you go. So everything is clickable. So you can actually jump to be nisane, it means spring. you'll be there. One other feature, again, this is again Pagra, has Ida, Aqla, Rusha, Risha, and they're all related. And so you can click on any word and it will show all related words to it. The other thing that you can also search, for example, let's say you want to look for names, all the names that are, that you can think of. So you don't even have to type in a word. You can just say, well, I want all the names that let's say you're looking for names, for your children. So you can just do a search like that, search by name. And it will show you all these names, Ilana, Asa. Now, these are nouns, by the way. And let's say Butma, Busla, etc. And you can also say, I want only words that are related to, let's say, land. So give me all the names that are related to land. And it will show you, there you go. So we have cliff, Isara, Ar'a, land, Buta, thicket, bush, أن خبرانة خشت Parsaina, Bayban, Birza, Bariya, etc. And let's say you're looking for all the verbs in Assyrian, at least as much as we collected here. I can just do, these numbers, by the way, tells you how many entries we have. So I would just want to look for verbs. And let's say I want to do, I just want every verb. So, and we'll show you all the verbs that are in this, in the collection, like Azil, Akhil, Amr, Asaq, etc. And if you want to restrict it, you would say, well, I only want the words that are only related to, verbs that are related to sun. And it'll show you, well, in this case, we have one. It's called Zaraq. But in the future, this work is work in progress, so we will add more. The other one is what we call synonyms and antonyms. Bnat qale damyaye, bnat qale saqulaye. So again, this is another feature of this dictionary that if you want to see what's the antonym of a word, what's the opposite of this word, you will also see it in this dictionary. For example, atiqa, opposite ila khata. And if you click on khata, it will show you the opposite of it. So this is also good if you know the word but you don't know what's the opposite of it. So this is like like a thesaurus, and I'll talk about it a little bit more details. And again, this is, I talked about it like qamaya kharaya. And the other thing that we also added is the voice. So rutmat khabra. So you can also have in it, for example, let me see if you can hear it.
Abadinaya.
So you will hear how a word is pronounced, and we will add more as we go along. So that's the dictionary. And we have a plan to include many sources. This is botany, zoology, geometry, human anatomy. And thanks to, with us, Samir Jona Lakhele, he just published a new book on basically on medicine, medical terms. And that's also, it's really a treasure for us, so that we're going to include it here so that, with his permission, of course, and that will be available to anyone to look up. And we have many, actually. I mean, this book is from Kostas. He has proper names of cities. Why do we need that? For spelling checkers. So you will have, for example, Baghdad, how it's spelled, let's say Lebanon, Beirut. So we will all include them in this dictionary. This is from Latin, Bedgeza. He also has this a collection of names. I call it diversity of content at Shanayuta. Damlua is important for us. And of course, technology, we're going to be incorporating new technology words, that to stay up with up to date. And I talked about thesaurus. I said, we have it. we have included in this dictionary things that you can look up for, like synonyms, antonyms, and so on. Thesaurus in Assyrian, I think I created this word, I don't know. I called it Betchmala, thesaurus. Thesaurus actually is, in Greek, it means storehouse. So, and Tuma Odu defines it at Ausara or Osra, Dukta Dua Khamlin Alate. Dukta Dua, the place in it, they keep, Alate means produce, things, products. So, and we actually have quite good resources to use. One of them is a manuscript from Elia Barshanaya, Episcopat Nasiwin, from the 11th century. He he wrote a manuscript that was discovered later. And we have actually two works. There was a published one in Iraq by Benjamin Haddad. It's right here. It's not, you don't see it very well. And there's this one, actually. This is like a thesaurus. It says Arabico Syro Latinus. Arabic, Latin, and Arabic, Syriac. This was from, like, I think 17th century. But no one knew that these two manuscripts were the same, but they were. And we also, thanks to someone who in Europe, I believe, also wrote two very massive books, actually, Ibnat Qale Damiyate, Ibnat Qale Saquliyate, means basically synonyms and antonyms. So he has quite a good collection that we will be able to also incorporate in this dictionary. The second project is, and I talked about, is text recognition. So here's an example where we use AI to read a manuscript, whether it's handwritten or printed, and it will read it and it will transcribe it. Just show you just a quick example. This is a poem, Simele. Someone actually posted on internet, and from 1933. It's a manuscript on the left. This is actually an image. An image, computer cannot read it. It can just know it's an image. It's a picture. In order to recognize that this is a text, so what we did, we trained a computer to read this handwritten manuscript. Of course, it didn't read it very well. It made some mistakes, but it gave us maybe 60-70%. So this is Mingyun Khatsimele, and the top is the actual line that it recognized as a line, and the bottom is the actual text. Now, this is a text that you can copy, paste, and do whatever you want to do, and so on. So this project actually exists, and we use it to, if we don't have access, let's say, to a text file, everything has to be converted to a text in order to read it. So you can see other lines. Again, handwriting is very challenging, but nonetheless, it was able to read good. This is corrected, by the way. So once we scan it and convert it, it will make mistakes. We go and manually change it here and there. So this is a corrected text. And here's an example of a similar process, but for printed text. This is a manuscript from Paul Bajan about Marbishu. It's one of the manuscripts in Sherbet Sahade, if anyone is familiar with it. It's Lishana Tiqala, classical Syriac, but someone translated it. Brunit Bakhshaman Qasha Yosef Qaleta translated this one in Assyrian. Again, it's printed. It's nice. Printed, it takes less effort to transcribe. And why we're doing this for the next project is something we call Assyrian, which is an open source modern Assyrian text corpus and lexical resources. So we take all this text, we store it in this platform, and then once it's there, now you can actually do a search. So far, we have collected content from, I don't know, maybe 60 resources, 60 books, and several magazines. And so far, we have collected nearly almost like 3 million words in Assyrian. So this is one of the largest collection of words in any one place. And then you can do all kinds of things. So for example, if you want to look for a word, let's say, let's see, Malka, in Shimma. So I'm searching for this word. Just give me a second. Let me start from the beginning. Anyway, so for example, if you click on it, it will show you the actual context of where this word. It's like Google, basically. It's Google, but not on what's on the internet. It's in the collection that you have. And let's see. And you can actually download it, and you can look at, for example, the timeline across a timeline where this word is used in different periods. So this is, I have collection, for example, from 1890 up to 2024. And this one tells you the frequency of that word that used during that time. For example, if you click right here, it will show you all the occurrences that occurred in that, let's see. That occurred in that time, and it will show you all the entries. For example, this one has 1,689 times that this word occurred, and if you click on any one of this word, it will show you the actual word in context. So this is good, for example, in if you want to see, you know, how a word is used. And this one will show you, for example, if you click here, it will show you the metadata, where this word has occurred. It will tell you which document number, who is the author, what is the title of that work, and what page number and what year that was published. This is good because if you want to see, for example, a word that was not a word, you want to see how often this word was used, and it will show you the time that was used and how many times it was used. And if you want to see, for example, if a word that was not used, let's say, only appeared before 1960 or after 1960, so you know most likely this word introduced during that time. And we can also use this one as a source to take examples and put it in a dictionary. And this is also available. You can do a lot of other things too. For example, you want to see the neighbors. Shimma, what are the most likely words that co-occur? Again, this is good if you're doing a research language analysis. For example, you want to see, this will I can click on this word. This tells me that Shimma and Gawanaya, they're kind of related. Most of it, well, in this case, let's say this one has a frequency too, because this says 525 times this word occurs with tcha. And if you click on it, it will highlight these two words for you, as you can see in red. It's probably you don't see it very well, but let me just magnify it a little bit. So probably this is better. And it will show you in all the places that this occurs. Let me go back to so I talk about these things, and let's see. So this is I called it Azure Text, and it's available. The idea is we have as much material as possible and scan it and convert it to text and make it available. Anyone can access. And we talked about this. Text corpus means a body of text, anything that is written and it's good for learners, it's good for researchers. And you can also, if someone is doing research, see how a language evolved, what are the all foreign words that were introduced, and so on. This tool will allow you to do that. And so what, I want, ba'uti min nokhan ila, if you are interested, you can join the team and you can help with donating materials. Let's say if you know someone has materials, you can send it to us, or if you know someone who has some text files, you can send it to us. because we can incorporate those into the more content we have, the better it would be for us. And in a sense, think of it as this is documentation of the language, how our language is documented. And so we're also looking for volunteers who can help us with maybe if you feel inclined to pronounce words for the dictionary, you are welcome, and so on. So if you want, you can click this, scan it. I'll make it available, and you can go to the source, and it has a form. It will show you to fill out this information and so on. And we have some other things too in the pipeline. One is machine translation. One is text-to-speech, one is speech-to-text. Basically, so we want to have Siri talk in Assyrian. And we also want to have like ChatGPT in Assyrian. So instead of looking for keywords like Nasha, it'll show you all the Nasha occurrences in the text. Now you can ask questions about Nasha. Emmanuel Melkit Atur, Bdanit Amrach, Ishtimmo, Bdanit Ishtimma. And you'll get an answer in Assyrian. So that's the next step that we're working on. And that can only happen if we have a lot of text. You probably heard ChatGPT. ChatGPT knows and learned from that. And some acknowledgement, these are the people who helped with this project, and there are others too. And I hope one day, next time I talk about it, I want to see your name in the list. And this is a project that we create for ourselves. We created. We all of us has we have stake in it. So we should try to help if you have the will. And again, some other information if you need anything, and that's it really. And if you have any question, quickly, maybe one or two questions, I think. One or two questions, no more. Yeah, Baqit.
باسم راب أخونا سرغون ليب مدعاة تقامي قاتم بقاري إلى the piano is available already and would like to see the link to it. That's number one. Number two is if we want to help, do you prefer Microsoft documents, PDFs?
No PDF, Microsoft,
okay.
yeah. PDF, I mean, we can accept it, but PDF, I have to convert it, so we have to put extra effort in it.
And finally, there is online something called Dukhrano. I'm sure you know about it.
Yeah.
One difficulty I encounter in looking at dictionaries, for example, Hassan Barbahlul and Ogan Mennai and Tomaodo, when you put a word to search, it doesn't get you to the word. It gives you the whole chapter that starts at the first.
Because it's an image. It's not a text.
Very cumbersome.
Yeah,
I hope we get something better than that. Thank you.
Yeah. One more?
This is fantastic. My question is, how do you ensure accuracy for using AI that works that is done here, it's accurate?
That's why we need you.
I'm sorry?
That's why I asked for volunteers.
Oh, I see.
Part of the work is going to be, you're going to be correcting the translation. We are working on collecting what we call parallel text, or parallel. I have about maybe 80,000 English Assyrian text that need to be verified, that it is correct. It is an effort. It's everybody's effort that we need to that's how we're going to do it. Okay, thank you very much.
حوتنا الراوع السيمم قم شارن غيت الترجمة دي كبنوا ميدنوا قوبل طيبوتا دي الأسيريان ناشونال فيدريشن أدم زمينه اللخاوت أدم ميدو طلوخن ميغبو هذا بتصوبة الديغ ببلاخة وما سعران وعواذة نيخا هلي ببلاطم سبب لبس كبا ناشا مكرس اللي هم كبا بالغ. So we are going to tell you what we are doing, but first of all, before entering in the topic, I would love to just introduce you the university where the Nineveh Chair is based. Let me, I don't know. Just it's a few minutes. Just this for your information, this is the University of Salamanca that has the Nineveh chair as its official chair. It's not an Efrim Yildiz initiative, but it's approved, officially recognized by the university, by the regional government, and by the state as well. So what we are trying to do is to do something specific for the for our common cause, for our legacy. And I'm going to go to show you a bit of history, and then I will focus on what kind of activities the Nineveh chair is doing or has still started doing, and so on. As you can see, the Nineveh Academic Chair and its projects upon Assyrian language, history, and culture. Let me see this one. Now I'll tell it a bit about this big question: Semitic languages, Assyrian language, Aramaic language, and so on. Because we have big questions, and sometimes we really don't have an appropriate or correct answer for those questions that are becoming a kind of problem or discussions or reasons for discussion among us. As you can see, this is the vision that the Western world has done so far. They got in contact with Middle East, and when they came to know what languages were there, what was founded through the excavations. Archaeology in this case is very important, but at the same time also linguistic or language resources that have given us the chance to divide the three main Semitic languages to which belong our own language. Okay, so as you can see, we have Western or Northeastern Semitic, which is Mesopotamia, that's our, and then Lishana Shimaya Ma'arwa al-Garabia, Northwestern Semitic, which is in Palestine and Syria and so on, and the Southern Western Semitic, which is Arab and Kush, which is Ethiopia. Okay, now let's go directly to what is typically related to what is typical Assyrian legacy. Let's go back to the Akkadian, then from which we have Assyrian and Babylonian. Here at this point, we are somehow at the beginning of a new era in relation when the Assyrian Empire started getting wider. And then they became, a kind of, they entered in contact with other people and with other languages. That phenomenon gave us two important new issues. One thing is we have become somehow owners of two languages, and now the question, what do we speak? Do we speak Assyrian, which dates back to Akkadian, or do we speak Aramaic, Syriac? And this is one of the main confusions, in my opinion, that has been created, because there's no definition given according to the historical development. So when did it start? Of course, when Assyria became bigger and bigger, many people came and were deported. Bnei Galuta, we are now in Galuta somehow, which means those who were working alongside the wheel, Gala, Gelgala. This was the policy of the Assyrian Empire when they were conquering territory and the people were not accepting their, let's say, power. Instead of trying to convince them, they were just taken from one point to the other. Ashur, Nineveh were inhabited by many people that were deported from Patina or Hamat or Damascus, but especially Bidzamani. These are the people who are considered or called Aramaic-speaking people or Arameans. Okay? This has given a new phenomenon. We have become owners of two languages without being conscious of it at the beginning. But our forebears were much more practical people than we do. There is, if I compare the two writing systems, cuneiform script, Ketwat Sisse, and Etwata, imagine if you would ask Sargon II, where he was really bilingual, by the way, okay? If I would ask him, what would you prefer? Learning 613, 632, more or less, syllabs in order to write correctly, or just using 22 letters, which were then at least 27, no? The process of simplifying the language, using for its benefit, this was one of the main reasons why we developed, when we say Aramaic, I don't have a pointer here, but the first one, which is the ancient one, and then the imperial square script, is Assyrian script, which has been called by the Westerners Aramaic script. Why has it been called in that way? Because when at the beginning the biblical studies started, these definitions were given especially in the Western higher educational center. And one of them was Schlosser, who started calling, for example, this kind of text was called Biblisches Aramäisch, or Biblical Aramaic. And that has been cultivated throughout, since then until now, as a kind of expression. So the development of even of our script, which is Ktiv Ashurit, the Jewish who were living with the Assyrians and Babylonians who knew how to call it. It was called from the beginning Assyrian script. But then, due to the fact that after the Assyrian Empire, the Persian adopted it as their own, is seen then when this expression of Imperial Aramaic was used as a technical term in order to distinguish it from the ancient Assyrian. Who developed this language? There were no Arameans. It was developed in Nineveh and in Babylon. It was developed by the experts who were totally integrated in the Assyrian system. They were thinking like Assyrians, they were living like Assyrians, they were using this language as Assyrian language. So calling it Biblical Aramaic, and so on, is in reality the fruit of the new denomination in the academia in the Western world. Now, of course, due to the fact that after the Assyrians, then the Achaemenids, the ancient Persians came to the power, these changes started taking place. Then, of course, during the periods, as you can see, the development of our language has been really has taken place according to the political powers that were dominating the whole Mesopotamia. This is why we have 5 big periods from the ancient period until the Barzanaya modern time. Now we are used to call our language Ma'ruaya or Madanhaya. This is the fruit of the Greek policies when they, in the 4th century, started occupying Mesopotamia. They divided, somehow willing to introduce the Greek language, has created isles of languages. This is why we have so many languages that are called according to their somehow geographical location. Hatra, Palmyra, Arsasid language, Nabatean language, Mandean, which have all of them a kind of common structure, but they have developed due to the policy of the Greeks that was introduced. They gradually developed in an independent way the so-called Imperial Assyrian Aramaic. This is why we have so many languages that are linked to the ancient Aramaic structure. So one thing is what we call language divisions, and other thing is what we call a people according to their ethnical origins and so on. So Assyrians, being owners of the 2 languages, they shifted gradually to the simple one. Because at the beginning it was just a question of taxes. How many taxes were going to enter? And our people were very practical people. So they were not controlling the correspondence between those regions that were under the Assyrian power. What they were doing is ensuring that if there was a tribute, because we have at least 3 kinds of tributes at that time. Minda below the halach. Probably most of you have never heard about these 3 terms. These were the tributes that were given to the Assyrian Empire. So what this in relation to the language, then we are in the new era due to the fact that after the Greeks, then again the Romans and the Persians, and then the Arabs. Until the arrival of the Islam and Arab language to our region, the main mean that was used in that region was our own language. But then with the policy to impose the Arabic as the language of the new owners of the territory, we gradually reduced our, let's say, territory where the language was spoken in a daily life. So we arrived from, in the late period, from the 3rd century until the 14th, 1394 is the last work that has been published in an official way in our language. Then even our leaders, our intellectuals started writing in Arabic. Now, all this kind of works are going to be explained in a language project. I'm here in order to tell you about what the Nineveh Chair is going to do in order to have at least one of the 3 main pillars of the Nineveh Chair are teaching, researching, and training. Teaching the language. We are focusing mainly on the modern Assyrian language. My priority as professor in this sense is trying to collect those masters in order to teach the language as it deserves. We have to have the chance to have a standard language. Each of us, we teach to our kids in the schools in a different way, which is good, but it's not enough. Research. We have the language project, and also the history of the Assyrians must be written by Assyrians themselves. Now it's time to focus and to do the things by our own. We have enough stuff. We have enough experts that can commit with such a task. But we haven't learned to invest in our own legacy in the way that is needed. We want to be a nation, we want to be a people, we want to be a whole group, then let's do it in the way that is needed in the 21st century. Otherwise, we don't have any chance. I can give you an example. I have been in Sweden a few years ago in a congress, and I asked to invite the professors of the language who are teaching, the teachers who are teaching at schools in Sweden, how they teach the language. And if I'm honest to you, I was highly surprised. No method, no common means, no idea how the language must be taught to our kids. So the Nineveh Chair will try to offer a method, a way how the language must be taught. The same as I told you in relation to the history. I have read a lot of historical books up in the ancient period, and then the middle and late period, and modern is the worst treated one. No one knows who Assyrians are. And if I would ask you who we here, probably we also do not exactly know who we are from a historical point of view. We know who we are according to our traditions, we know who we are according to our customs, and so on. But if I would ask an Assyrian kid today, give me a definition who an Assyrian is, he would immediately link me only to the church or to the Christian faith. Ashuraya, Suraya, and that's more or less all. Now it's time to put the experts together to offer an Assyrian history written by Assyrian experts. It's our moral obligation to do it. And Nineveh Chair is gradually collecting these experts to work together. How do we do it? through these congresses that we do each year. By the way, you all are most welcome to the 4th International Congress of Nineveh that will take place from the 6th to 8th of October this year at the University of Salamanca. And the main topics are language, history, and this year I add always a third part, continuity. Third pillar of the Nineveh Chair's activities or goals are training. How can we cultivate, develop, collect, as Professor Sargon has and the collecting? How can we do it if we don't have experts? How can we have experts if we don't invest? So this is why Nineveh Chair is trying also to provide some scholarships through your contribution to the Assyrian talents that will come, be trained, and then sent back to the community in order to get involved in the community and at the same time at the university that is in that city. Why is this very important? I mean, I give you my example. When I came to the University of Salamanca, there was only a course, Biblical Aramaic. And now we have a degree of 4 years, of which 45% of the courses are related to our language, to our literature, to our history, and to our cultural customs. We have to know and to learn how to start building from the ground until the higher education system, PhD. So I'm always just asking you to help us to find the means to pay the scholarships of Assyrian talents to come and to be trained at the PhD level. Indeed, currently we have 3 Assyrians who are doing their PhD at the University of Salamanca within the Nineveh Chair. And this year, at the end probably of this year, beginning of the 2026, you will have a PhD totally written in Modern Assyrian. But this is not the first one. I have a second one. He's doing now the same thing in specific areas or fields. We have to cover all the fields. I have now other 2 Assyrian talents who will come from Ashur. By the way, I ask you to use the word Ashur, because if they ask you, where are you from? You have to say, I'm from Ashur. Whether from Iraq or Turkey, Iran or Syria, we have to believe in our territory. I'm from Turkey. No, I'm from Ashur that was taken by the Turks. So let's give our kids the chance to believe even in their territory. So this, and the goal of the Nineveh Chair is somehow to train for the next 10 years. I'm going to be active for the next 10 years. It's a natural process. Now I'm at the last stage of my academic life, 10, 12 years, and we have to achieve a dream and a goal to train at least an average of 20, 30. My dream was to train 100, but I know that is impossible. But at least 40, 50, 60 Assyrian talents in language and history in order to send them as the new apostles, national apostles to the Assyrian communities around the world to teach the language, to teach the history, and to get in contact with the education centers where they are, because without PhDs it doesn't make sense. That's why we need well-trained people in order to train. On the other hand, as you can see, we have the Nineveh Chair has, if you want to donate, you have the possibility to do so for these purposes. Okay? And what Nineveh Chair, because I'm now, the time is running, we have still started. We are not saying we are going to do. I have learned not to say let's do, let's start, but then we wait 1 year and at the end, no, we have started. We have started publishing. We have started creating links. This is the 4th Congress we are celebrating this year, and we are focusing on those elements that are highly needed. We need means. We have now a grammar book, but it must be improved. It must become a 7-volume grammar book that must be adapted to the level of the learners. A kid can't use a grammar like an 18 or 25 years old young Assyrian lady or man. So this is the way. If you want to build Assyria without education, you don't have any chance. Tarbita, tarbita, tarbita. Or we do it in this way, or we will fail. As you know, we are not only, Nineveh Chair is not only working on by its own. Now we have finally a double degree at the University of Duhok, University of Salamanca, and the University of Duhok, which will teach for 3 years our modern language, history, for the first time. So we are gradually achieving small goals. We could do much more if we would have the Syrian support. If we could start with the research projects upon Assyrian language and history immediately. The people are ready, but I told them to wait until the Assyrians get awake in order to see the need of investing in such a possibility. And here I would love to express my gratitude to those who have seen the need, and they are doing their best to help us. The Art Institute is helping. People like John Michael or Ron Michael, they are helping. Nora is helping. And many other Assyrians are starting to see the need of investing in such a project. Because without means we can't do useful and for long-term mean projects. So we are, as you can see, we have even not only bilateral agreements, but also we are ready and we are trained to do the work in an academic way, in a professional way. Give us the chance to do so. Otherwise, the teachers I have met there and even here and elsewhere, they will do their best, but they do, instead of 97, only 10% of what they could be trained in. So what we do is now, the Nineveh Chair, better said, is preparing the ground for online courses to certify those professors who are teaching the language without an official certificate, accredited certificate, they can't teach. This is also on the way. And these certificates will be issued by the University of Salamanca, for instance. Then, of course, we have to find the tools, as I told you. But all this work needs investment. I spend my time because I love my people, I love my language, I love my legacy. But I can't ask all those experts, come for the love of your nation, sacrifice. Okay, you do it. So if we have this, your support, we can do much more for your or our kids. Because I'm focusing totally on the new generation who are in need of means of well-written grammar books, of well-written historical books, of well-trained professors, teachers, of well-structured courses. So we are doing our best, but we could do much more if we put our efforts together. My dream is to work si'tanait, you know what it means? Collectively. We have to learn to work together. And this is the unique way to do something useful, productive, and especially fruitful for the incoming generation. Thank you very much for your time. Now we have a few minutes for questions. By the way, and we have taken also Sargon. But before that, I would love also to express my gratitude to the Assyrian American Association of Southern California. They have seen what the project is, and they said, okay, we will focus on the language project. And they are supporting the Nineveh. And we will, gradually we are trying to get involved. It's your project. Nineveh is yours. Use it for the benefit of our kids.
بسيمة شلام على خون اوكي صورت لنا قالوا روملي بترو بسيمة بالبان افريم يلديز انا فقط خامد انو تو كريتيت فالي احنا من جبت شو تا بودات رايت من كاليفورنيا قلت فالم بادجت اسرائيل بيق نسبة البلخانة لشانا إيتا إحنا سامع قامة خمشال بقد بيخالا نظن بروفيسور يلدز قتية وجب شو تابو تدين أو تاما دي وقت قد فيدالا إيتا أوديو مدري قدتين الله خابتون باسيم أنا بوين دانون من تابين من دكتور جو داناوي قد يوالا برسات أو بريدان دبران كونفنشن قد مريزال قد بروفيسور يلدز عتيبة إيتا إحنا فقط بيخ وقت تنخوا بالخانة قديان إيلي أو بإطلاق خاصة بروشور ده تاما قيم ترائينا قد خارتن بسمع لو قيم خشتو شكليتو لا أهلا قد بالخانة إيلي كلي كل انجري شركة من جبت شو تابوت إحنا داخل بسنادوخ من جبت بارويوتا قد إتلان بالخانة مخ الله قد كل فد أفليات قد إينا جب أمريكا كل نعيد بالخي آخر شيلت لقد جاي بيشة يسورة أويا قد بالخا قد أهم داخل ليتوتا إتها داخل معنا وإحنا بيخوا تشيك خمشال بخين قد متوخ وقد باجت متوخ وقد دوخخ لها خاق بروفيسور يلديز.
So thank you.
گری از اخو ارپی دلاری و خد چک خیته گرت سرمونیالی نخنا تام سی ویده لنخنا من خیلی اختخ لخه عوتون را بسیمه دکتر دناوی پروفیسور یلدیز بسیمه هردان تا دکتر سرگون هستو را بسیمه قدیوی خال خاصه من دان دیانو قدر خورز قدیت فالق پروفیسور یلدیز عوتون را بسیمه کلو
So now just a minute. As I told you, this is the way where we can do something useful for our future. We have regained you remember the Journal of Assyrian Academic Studies. Now it's linked to the University of Salamanca. This is a special issue that has been used in order to publish those works that we consider that they were well done as a special volume. But next incoming year, the JAS is going to be active, but in a different way. They have done a huge work, and now we are going to continue that huge work in a different way. This JAS, which is probably one of the best journals we ever have had, will be published among the journals of the University of Salamanca. You will have the access to all previous works digitally. They are now digitizing all the works. So Just in order to tell you that we are not only preaching, we are working. Give us the chance to do it together, and we will do it much better if we share and if we get experts involved in such works. We have also the grammar book. If somebody of you wants to have it, it's there. Assyrian Modern Language. It's published. So use it. And the money that you invest in it is for the chair. It's not for Efrim Yildiz. Because I firmly believe that we can do it. And this is my way to show you. We are working, and you should collaborate with us in the way you can do it best. Thank you again. Now questions. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you very much for your talk today. You mentioned that your dream was that you would produce 100 apostles so that they can carry this mission forward. Have you guys considered Australia?
Of course.
There is an Assyrian school there. I think on a yearly basis they produce over 200 students fully equipped in Assyrian language. So if you guys were to train them further, if you were able to institute this program in the universities over there, I think your work would be very fruitful. I don't know whether you've considered it.
I have been even in Australia at the school in order to know how they were teaching the language, which method is used. I have all the books from Australia at home as well, in order to learn from them and to improve the method. But this is not the unique one. If you go to Ashur, you have more than 27 schools there where the different subjects are taught in Modern Assyrian, but there is not a method. A method needs several aspects, and we have to start believe in the way that the language must be taught according to the pedagogical skills, according to the way that a life language must be taught. So we still, for example, I can give you an example, we still depend on a typical clerical way of teaching the language. No, we have to emancipate from the wings of the church in order to teach our language. It doesn't mean that we should not take it in account. But I know, after many years of academic life, there is a need of doing a professional work that must be done by the Assyrian Academic Council. Experts in language, experts in linguistics, experts in semantic, experts in this and that must provide us with the means that are needed in order to teach, for example, our language, our history, as any other nation starts still does. US, Germany, France, they have their academic council that they work full time on this aspect. So a single person or few people is a good beginning, but it's not enough. And this is why I insist on working in a collective way. Yeah, I was in Australia and I met even with the professors and was the author of the books as well. Yeah. Almost. Yeah.
Probably if you could show the donation slide.
Oh yeah, it was a pleasure.
Okay, we have only one more question.
There we go. Thank you. Thank you very much, Professor Yildiz. My question: funding actually is a big problem, and having a PhD degree is 3 to 4 years at best. Have you considered doing something less extensive, for example, masters instead of PhD?
I didn't really receive your point.
Have you considered giving degrees in masters rather than PhD. I mean, masters and PhD, because funding is important.
Yeah.
And instead of 4 years, you resort to 2 years and somebody gets a master's in this field.
Absolutely. This is why I insist to have, if they are getting trained at the PhD level, then they will be able also to get connected with the universities. It's not just a question of going to a school and teach the language there. My goal is to train those, let's say, experts that must do two important points. If they have the degree, they will have the chance to be active in the community, where there is an Assyrian community, and at the same time, they must enter in the university where the community is. So this is a chain. So training from the master and PhD, of course, this is, for me, at least the beginning point in order to do something solid. Yeah. Yeah?
Have you thought about having the program available as a education for people outside
The question is, can you make it remote? The class is remote.
Oh yeah. Online courses are asynchronous. This is why we can teach you from the University of Salamanca according to the time the kids or you have at your disposal. So this is why we will upload them in the platform, and then the student will follow according to its or her possibilities in order to learn the language. Yes. Yeah.
Okay, Rabi, thank you so much. All right.
Duyuran ele, gıdamasın da duyuran ele.